That's 33. It's 350.
You don't know.
I do know.
But obviously you don't.
Anyways.
If you did, you would be more confident in what you spoke about. But hey, we have episode 3.
Whose man's is this?
Of Living Just Enough, right? I mean, it's some changes have occurred. You know, I'm Milton the Law. Milton the Law cannot be present today. I'm sure somebody went upside his head because of what he said about Barack Obama last episode.
Yeah, somebody should have definitely went up his head for that.
Speedy recovery, brother. Keep hope alive. But we have special, so I'm the host of the most today, Rico. And then we have our special guest over here, J Love.
Nice to meet y'all. Good to be here.
Yes, good enough to introduce herself. And then, of course, our regular Kofo.
Yes, sir.
Ken Folk. And then, so we want to just start off with, how was everybody's weekend? What we get into over the weekend, guys?
Ladies first.
Why you always gotta put me on the spot?
I'm just trying to be polite.
My weekend was good. I mean, today I was like 4 hours in the gym today, between the gym and the studio. So my body is tired, but I'm good. It was a good weekend.
Was that class? Because I thought you said you had like class today or something.
Dance, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
What kind of dance?
I mean, jazz and ballet. I had
Jazzercise?
Oh, wow.
Not jazzercise, Broadway jazz.
And
regular jazz class, ballet.
Nice.
Okay.
It's not that deep. It's really not that deep.
I mean, it's impressive
That's
still.
that's my Sunday.
Definitely impressive.
Kofo, how was lazing up in the bed all weekend doing homework?
It was lovely. So it's great to get a chance to be lazy and just lay down and sleep and wake up and sleep again.
No,
Feels good.
Naps are incredible.
Naps are very incredible.
So y'all living just enough, right? That's
definitely-
where that came from. Y'all just
For naps.
Yes. Definitely living just enough for naps.
Reaching that plateau of 30. I feel my testosterone beat my ass right now. Like, I'm about to go, bruh.
You coming up on 30?
I'm to be 30 in April. Yeah.
What?
Oh, I'm just grown. I got tattoos older than you, girl.
Boy, bye. Boy, bye. People be sicing it so much.
But Jay had come on the show, you know, because we needed some female influence, some woman influence on our show. And she also has some gripes that she wanted to bring to the table from last week. So the floor is yours. You can.
I wouldn't call it gripes. I mean, I wanted Milton to be here so I could go directly to the source of my issues. But
should have wore a hat.
It was right. You need to have like a very Obama pose for him to not like Obama. It's really ironic. But anyways, no. First of all, the whole idea of silencing
the
athletes, the whole thing about like how everybody took offense to LeBron saying colored. I don't know. I just nah.
Did you take offense to that as a colored
coming
woman?
from LeBron? No, as a colored woman, that was cute. That was real cute. I think like you act like this man is MIT educated or something like that, like or Howard educated. I mean, he's very smart, but like he's also talking to a smorgasbord of women from different backgrounds, and so I can understand why somebody would be like, I'm not going to say black women or whatever. He might not know the people of color term that's become politically correct, but y'all know what he meant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a little grace for my brother. He just opened a school. He just, you know what I mean? I personally didn't find it offensive. If it came out of somebody else's mouth, I think it matters the source, you know?
Like your boy Trump or something.
Exactly. Then yes, double standards all day.
Respect.
So.
But unlike y'all, I did something this weekend. Several interesting things besides the gym and sleeping. So I just wanted to touch on that real quick. I went to a Sankofa event. Sankofa is like a bookstore down the street from here. Yeah, okay, you do know. You do know. It was All Eyes on DC by my man Sam P.K. Collins. So I just wanted to shout him out, give respect to him. And then they had a special guest, Hadi Toure, who has the app For the Culture. It's a free app. You can download it. It's got news and all different types of things that affect the black community and the Pan-African community. Okay. So I just wanted to shout them out.
Are you a part of the Pan-African community?
Of course.
Okay.
I descend from Africa in one way or another.
That don't make you a part of the Pan-African movement.
I mean, movement or community, that's two different things.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, you say, am I part of the movement? I'm part of the green movement.
There's a lot of...
definitely a capitalist.
I mean, there is green in the flag.
There's a lot of people who are black that don't consider themselves Pan-African. But
it's to each his own. And I also was at the Chuck Brown Memorial Day. Chuck Brown Memorial Park. That's in like Northeast.
Chuck Brown.
Yeah, man, that shit. I mean, that is very tight. Like it's like two different parks. It's across two different parks in the community center, and then they have like a full concert. They have food. They have give backs for kids. They have a lot of pit bulls because I guess DC loves pit bulls. That's kind of like them things poop like horses.
Yeah,
and the horse doo-doo out there. But it was a great time, and I was happy to see the community out.
I'm so scared of pit bulls, and I don't know why. I feel like I was taught to be afraid of them. Everybody always says they like not loyal, and they will turn on you.
Oh nah, they're the most loyal.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But if you can train them, I guess to be,
they're just really, really savage sometimes.
Depends on the person. I mean, they were made to fight in pits.
I feel like they like the black people of the dog world. Like it's just
loved and hated.
Like they've been called thugs, polarizing, and right. It's like a stigmatized. Yeah,
that's a good way to look at it, actually, and that's why black people fuck with pit bulls so hard, probably.
True.
Hey,
I mean,
in the South.
And Mike Vick.
Oh damn!
Leave my man Mike Vick.
Positive. We talking about some positive. we gonna say rest in peace.
I'm just saying.
Rest in power, rest in honor to Aretha Franklin.
Yes.
Right? That's what we wanted to like start out with. Because, I mean, at 76, she lost her battle with cancer, but won her battle with going to heaven, or at least eternity, as a lot of people like to say. So
her music will live on forever, that's for sure.
The queen of
soul. She's a legend. Yeah. Straight up legend. Straight up legend. I mean,
do y'all have a favorite Aretha song? Or?
I mean, the obvious would be my favorite, the R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
Yeah, the culture.
Yeah, straight up.
Chain. Yeah.
Chain of Fools.
Yeah.
My favorite is Say a Little Prayer for You.
Yeah.
That's a very.
I can't say I have a favorite. That was the first one that came to my mind, but it's hard to pick from.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, it's a catalog. She was in the music industry for like 50 freaking years, from being very young to being a grown woman with it. She makes songs with Lauryn Hill.
18.
Yeah. She was in
the music
industry for a long time, bro.
And she did all kinds of things for like the black movement too in this country as well, like sponsoring
people don't know that,
and paying for people to get out of jail and paying for people's court cases and things like that. Like she was a real one. There was a lot of them like that, but she was definitely a real one. So
especially blowing up the way she did in the era, coming up like being heavy in the 60s and like what was with the climate of the culture at that time. You know,
in this country,
being able to transcend all those barriers and stuff that put her way.
Using her voice.
Right.
I mean, a black woman commanding respect.
Right.
Like that's even now that would be like a whoa, like it'll be an impressive thing.
Right. And remixing the song from Otis Redding that was really talking about his woman need to give him respect, and she was like,
"No, I'm flip it. Now you need to give me some respect."
It's like, no, this needs to be reciprocal respect here. Yes.
Oh, damn.
Yes.
I loved it.
I'll bangs with it.
Yes.
And then like a lot of people don't know her father, Clarence Franklin, was actually a minister with the MLK and the civil rights movement, and he organized marchings and sit-ins in the Detroit area that were in unison with, of course, the DC area, the Alabama area, and the New York area, like all over.
Oh, that's dope.
I mean, it goes deeper, and then that's why someone like her should speak on it. She knew what was going on and what was required to do these things.
Okay, so so you said she should speak on it, and we were praising Aretha and other folks like her for speaking out. But y'all said in the last episode that athletes need to shut up and dribble.
Don't say y'all.
I'm just confused.
No, this guy. Yeah, it wasn't this guy.
It wasn't
you.
She's not an athlete. Like I said, she grew up in a civil rights
house. She's
an
entertainer, though.
You said entertainers as well.
And what did she do?
So we picking and choosing.
She did it subtly. I mean, she was able to do it within her industry without sacrificing her career, which is not an easy thing to do. I ain't trying to say like it's some shit like, oh, like Colin Kaepernick should know how to do that. I mean, it's hard. But she most definitely was able to subtly play.
What makes it hard, John?
I don't know. I mean, I ain't in these industries.
Would you say media coverage is the same today as it is back in the 60s?
Of course not.
All right, so that probably is what makes it harder.
Yes, that would be true. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't adapt your game plan to the different environment. Yeah, everything's about adapting and growing and learning from life.
So maybe this is their way of adapting.
That is true. Hey, I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just critiquing.
I'm not either. I just don't want to sound like the people who say shut up and dribble. That's all.
That's the most problematic.
Hey, but if you stop critiquing, if you just accepting, that's a big thing too. Critiquing is what always improves.
I think critiquing within your team is great, but not critiquing publicly in front of everybody, including your enemies.
Right. I agree. And I feel like athletes and entertainers and they have been the pioneers of sending the message about civil rights and what's going on. And like, look at NWA and people like it was through music,
the Olympic,
and through
Olympic
exactly brothers. It was through all of these people who had a presence, whether it be through their, if it's sports or entertainment or whatever it is. Like they were always the ones that created global awareness around the issues that were plaguing the Black community that others of us could not. You know what I mean? We didn't have that following, didn't have that fan base.
Didn't have that
and so
platform.
To say people like Colin Kaepernick and LeBron James need to shut up and dribble and just put their money behind Cornel West. They have audience spaces that Cornel West, and I love him dearly, would never reach. And so to me, it's problematic, and it's not in line with the history of how we've been able to create the social change that we have. So
that's a dialogue. I mean, you gotta have a dialogue to keep getting better.
And these have to be people who are in the public eye with influence, regardless of whether you feel like he should be there or not. He has influence. LeBron James is like surpassing Michael Jordan in terms of his, you know what I mean? It's like he's talking to people and reaching audiences that
Michael Jordan chose not to.
That's crazy. He did choose that route. That I'm not going to speak politically at all.
Right.
And we see why.
He shut up and put his money behind exactly what y'all wanted, and now y'all criticizing him for it. So it's like,
I mean, that's real shit. That's why we need y'all to comment. Oh, and then we need you to speak directly into your microphone too.
All right.
We got to hear your voice.
I'm sorry.
Yes. And then we also had my man Kofi Annan.
Kofi Annan,
who Kofi wanted to shout out. I mean, I watch the news. I read the news every day. I didn't see. I'm like, damn, Kofi hit me like the first Black African UN head had passed on. Kofi was the one that told me, like, and Kofi Annan. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That's really
80. He lived a long and full life. So I had someone say to me,
his impact's gonna last forever too.
Right.
He's always gonna be remembered. I mean, Kofi Annan. I always get mistaken for him because, of course, my name's Kofo. And people always call me Kofi.
Kofi.
Oh, like Kofi Annan? It's like, no.
Is that your uncle?
He's Ghanaian.
Born on Friday.
Yeah, so she knows. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's big. I mean, we always talk about Black representation and say having a Black figurehead in a different field that you're not used to seeing and not giving you motivation. Mm-hmm. So that guy being the first head of the UN of a Black, I mean, the only reason I say Black African is because when I read his bio, that's what it said. Apparently they had white Africans before him being the head of the UN, but he's the first Black African.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
I mean, he seemingly was good at his job as well. A lot of different treaties, a lot of different issues were at least not physically resolved or not violently resolved while he was head.
Yeah. No, he was a peacekeeper. He was definitely, Mandela in spirit, That's what I respected about him. And I don't know.
That's a good accolade.
Yeah.
If someone's saying you Mandela in spirit, that's good.
I mean, it's big. Yeah. I mean, Mandela most definitely gets the most respect.
Yeah.
A lot of people.
Straight up.
Yeah.
And then at 76 and at 80, personally, I was just happy that they passed of natural causes.
Right.
Is cancer a natural cause?
It's not the most natural, but it's something that can occur in your body naturally, and then it multiplies and it spreads and it takes you over. As opposed to a lot of our pillars, a lot of our leaders, a lot of our musicians and people of importance, they die from drugs, the drug culture and ODN and all that different type of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Black Panthers. They infiltrated a lot of them with crack and with heroin.
Yeah, they did.
Prince. Yeah. Prince had an opioid addiction or
Michael
some type
Jackson.
of addiction. I mean, it's and Michael Jackson. Yeah, like I mean, it's a lot of our important people, or just important people to the world as well.
Yeah.
But significantly important to the Black community that died due to drugs, and that's just unfortunate because. I mean, the drug culture has always been relevant. Yeah. It's always there. Mm-hmm. But this resurgence of opioids is obviously causing big problems across
because it's been normalized. Like in our community, it's just been
culture.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been normalized. I don't know like when it happened, but it kind of seems like just a cool thing to do. I don't know why or when, but it went from just weed to like
I think it started with Cudi.
Everything else. Cudi who?
Cudi. Kid Cudi.
Oh.
Kid Cudi?
I mean,
self-medicating. That's that self-medication.
I mean,
I was gonna say Lil Wayne.
Little. In terms of making it cool, though,
he was the first one who would openly talk about all of the stuff he was on. Like
he was big on Serb. Cudi was big on coke and pills,
promethazine and codeine.
Yeah. Like all of them. I mean, but what's crazy is like so two of the biggest rappers from the previous decade, most definitely went into the drug culture. Obviously,
having seizures and all that. Like
we went from it was
drug dealers to now drug abusers. It used to be all drug dealers. Now it's like. Everybody's on it. Like
there's that video with the guy that like transitions the music. Like this is music in the 60s to the 80s to the 90s or whatever, and that's exactly what he talks about. Like we went from selling it and it being cool as a means to liberate ourselves and create a stream of income that was not allowed for us at a period of time to now using the supply. But the root cause of it is obviously the mental health stuff that we deal with in our community. You know what I mean? It's coping from something. It's a.
I agree with that. I mean, it's coping from your condition, your situation, everything.
Right.
You don't really know like you're not consciously saying I'm taking these drugs to escape from, but it just kind of happens that way for a lot of people.
No, I mean,
this is a way to escape the pain.
Exactly. I mean, and even with Aretha, you know, it was she has a book, I guess, that came out. I actually missed that one, so I'm looking forward to reading it. But I didn't realize that she battled with like alcoholism and depression. And it's like you don't see that side of everybody, but there's always conversation within, you know, the music industry and entertainment industry about how normalized it is within their culture, like as a means to just deal with all of the. And I just couldn't even imagine being famous. Like, you can't even go to the grocery store without somebody in your face, and you know, that kind of stuff. It's like people want the money without the fame, you know.
Yeah, that's me. I would love the money without the fame.
Chinga ching.
Right, you
can't. Fame is too much. You can't go nowhere. You can't do nothing. It's always people like talking crazy about you, and rumors pop up out of nowhere.
Right,
like,
exactly.
You just can't be like regular anymore.
That's why Tina Marie left. She said she was just so what?
No, I mean, I just thought about the sex tape and the 50 Cent stuff. I'm sorry. I'm just not laughing. It's not funny because that shit is weird.
Wait,
she was like a sex tape. Yeah. Tiara Marie or Tina Marie?
Tina Marie.
Square Biz.
Square, exactly. The almost black legend.
She was. I mean,
she was
Rick James.
Yes.
If you were Rick James, you pretty much black. If you associate with this man at any point in time, like you pretty much black. You got a ghetto pass, all types of different black passes.
You the type to hand out, you know, gift certificates to the cookout.
To the hood, yeah, that's right.
Right.
But how do y'all, like, I know this is something Kofi will really touch on too. Like, how do y'all feel about how this new opioid crisis, so it descends from the celebrities and the people of importance to the communities and the people that we live with? How do you feel how the opioid crisis is being treated like a humanity and a health awareness and a helping people crisis, whereas, like, personally, I dealt with it. I'm a crack baby, so I've dealt with the crack epidemic, like, firsthand. You know what I'm saying? So,
and then you grew up here in D.C., right?
Yeah, in the 80s, in the 80s and 90s.
Right.
So, but that epidemic was definitely criminal, and we need to arrest people and get these people out of the streets. The opioid epidemic is, we need to help these people. So, how do y'all feel about the parallels?
I think it's two-part.
Go ahead.
I think it's two-part. One, this is the common one that most people would love to hear. It's a precedent now. We saw how we mishandled that situation. But then also, too, is dealing with black people. When you're talking about crack and the criminalization of anything, whenever it's concerning and affecting black people most, it's always going to be treated as a crime, punishable by law. But when it's affecting white people at the same kind of rates, then it becomes humanitarian and an issue for us to address. Crisis. Exactly. I mean, we've seen those trends. So,
I mean, this kind of goes back to what I was saying about, like, the government in this country and, like, black people engaging and having this conversation with them as if they're, like, going to see you as human. But, like, it should show you what it is. Like, they respond to this the way they're responding to it now because they're mostly white people that are affected by this. Like, that's just what it is. People who are out there, like, watching, listening, watch the documentary 13th. Just watch it. It's on Netflix. It's like, just watch it.
Yeah.
And just watch and listen, and you'll see congressmen and, like, politicians admit, like, yeah, we knew what we was doing when we handed out all them sentences and 3 strikes rules and all these things. We knew what we were doing. Like,
watch Culture
They know
too.
what they're doing. They know who they're doing it to. It's no secret. It's no accident.
Systemic.
Yeah, it's very systemic, but it's set up and designed that way specifically for your black ass, like, straight up.
Right.
That's why I was getting frustrated, because it's just like, you know what it is.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to, like, just not accommodate, but adapt and, like, understand the way you're viewed in this country. Like, you started off as not even a human being. You were less than farm animals in their constitution. Just remember that. And then an amendment was made to make you human again. So that, like, we're coming from that all the way down, trickling down to, like, yeah, you guys are gonna be seen as criminals if you're on drugs, of course, because we're gonna mass incarcerate you. Simple. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's not rocket science, and it's not like, oh, we made a mistake back then, blah blah blah. No, like, they knew what they were doing. Like, it wasn't no mistake. It wasn't no oversight or none of that other bullshit. Any other word they want to use, like, it wasn't none of that. And they know this. It's just, you have to educate yourself and understand what it is, so that you can move forward and move amicably. You get what I'm saying? Like, be able to move in a room full of vultures, like Jay-Z says. Like, you have to understand.
You have to. A country you got a country full of vultures, pretty much. Yeah, because that's the capitalistic society.
That's how they view you. It's no accident that the dude was getting arrested in Orlando and he's like, "You're treating me like a black guy." That's not an accident that he said that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
of course,
from a white guy to say that, like
that
means
he's
fully aware of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
He's
and
like,
the
please,
precedent that's set. You know what I'm saying?
treat me like a white man, please. That means you just don't even put handcuffs on me. Put me back in the car and transport me to the police department. Let me go home. And then to touch on what Jay said, like to anybody that thinks that the opioid crisis and what's crazy is like not only does the opioid crisis, it comes with an HIV and a hepatitis crisis because a lot of these people that use opioids
sharing needles,
intravenous. You know what I'm saying? So you also get HIV outbreaks. You also get hepatitis outbreaks. And so for anybody that's like, well, it's still a black problem, or it's still like it was not just affecting white people, the biggest HIV hepatitis outbreaks related to the opioid crisis are happening in West Virginia, Indiana, Wisconsin, Massachusetts, Missouri, Ohio.
A lot of these are middle America states, by
Tennessee, Arkansas, Utah, Kentucky, and California.
Well, yeah.
So that one, we'll give you that one.
They use all the drugs over there. Yeah, it's all
that
drugs.
one's black, Spanish, brown, you know what I'm saying? But Utah.
All the drugs.
But Utah, we know what's up with Utah.
Yeah. Wyoming.
We know the demographics of Utah. We know the demographics of Massachusetts. We know the demographics of West Virginia. So, yeah. I mean, anybody wants to throw that on like it's like a black problem or it's a poor people problem. Yeah, it's a poor people problem specifically to white demographics and white communities.
And then even if you want to call it a poor people problem, like a lot of these prescription drugs that not poor people can get, like people who are well off, a lot of that shit is just like heroin too. Like they just put it in pills or like in liquid form. That's all it is. Everything.
No, it is. Yeah, exactly
it's
that.
heroin. They just have different other names for it, but it's the same exact like stuff when they break it down structurally. Like
they get addicted to. That's what happened. See, it was a big pill boom in the 90s and 2000s. It was a lot easier to get pills in. Oh, yeah. You get addicted to Percocets. You get addicted to Quaaludes. You get addicted to OxyContin. You get addicted to oxycodone. You get addicted to Dilaudid. You get addicted to morphine. These are all different types of pills that you can get legally. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then
go to your doctor.
Once that's cut off, once you off the teat, they like, oh, excuse me, sir, you've had 5,000 Percocets in 1 year, one calendar year. You're not better now? Well, you need to try something else. And then, of course, people transition to, well, I guess I'll sell my body for heroin.
Yeah.
Because you ain't got no money.
Because the side effects is catching up to them. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, just take a look at it's a documentary on Netflix called Culture High. And they do a really good job of breaking down the politics behind
the weed,
the big farm, and the correlation between that and the food industry and different other things and
health and wellness too. They talk a lot about that in Culture High. Culture High is a very good documentary. Yeah, it'll change your perspective on weed. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. 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 I mean, there was an article that just came out about Maryland on the process of legalizing marijuana so that they can tax it and use it to provide universal pre-K. And they were like, well, it's unregulated right now, and then it's just causing a lot of thugs and criminals to make a profit. We should be the ones that make the profit.
Federally Schedule 1?
Schedule,
which is a political.
Which is the same as like heroin, same. It's worse than cocaine, same as heroin, worse than Percocets, same as like meth. Like a Schedule 1 drug is the worst type of drug you can be.
And it prevents you from being able to research the drug as well. That's the hard part. So
the DEA classification.
And that is all by design.
By design.
Because they know.
You know they could grow this in their backyards. Let's put a stop to this right now.
Yeah. Just watch Culture High. Definitely watch 13th. Your mind will be blown. Trust.
Watch the C word too while you at it, because when y'all talking about cancer with Aretha and it being a natural cause, there's a whole lot of that's preventable, and it's a culture in our community as well around diets and the way we eat and a lot of things that contribute to our health problems. Stress, racism. Let's talk about the effects of racism. Like that is
post-traumatic slave syndrome.
I mean, it's not even continuous traumatic. I mean, hey, like every day you look around, like it doesn't change. It just transforms. Like the form of racism that was once dogs and lynchings and whatever else is went from the big house to the prison, and the slave catchers turned into the policemen, and you have all of these same parallel institutions just transforming, becoming more covert over time. And that's a part of the psychological stress of it too. It's almost like gaslighting in a way, manipulating you that you make you feel like it's not still happening and it's all in your mind, but it's the same exact thing, just transforming and becoming more and more subtle over time. And you know, but once we are educated and we understand that, you know, what is the next steps after that? Because it really does, ruminating over that, and that's just in my own personal testimony, like it makes it really hard to like make it through a day without being frustrated or whatever else, when that's constantly,
it's constantly, you know, in your face, constantly like on your shoulders, like you just wearing it. But I think like if you constantly are like thinking about it, like in your conscious mind, and like you're always looking for it in everything you do, then that's when it's gonna really, really weigh on you. You're gonna have the stress, and you're gonna like turn to try and medicate or whatever like that. But like I was saying before, you gotta educate yourself, and you have to have some self-determination. You have to have like some type of like, okay, there's a plan for my life, and this is what I want to do.
And beyond that, I really need us to like hop on this mental health wave. Like the same way we hopped on this Black girl movement for like natural hair and reclaiming our Blackness, and how it's so, you know, we're being proud of our melanin is popping and all this good stuff. I need us to hop on this mental health wave, because that's really at the root of a lot of the issues that we have in our community, between our Black men and our Black women, between like how we relate to the rest of the world. And so many people are suffering in silence. We had that conversation. Remember when we was talking about how this 20-something group, like y'all said, living just enough, this 20-something 30s era that we're in now, is we're all going through very similar issues in silence, like siloed from each other. And we are not operating in the same kinds of community that we once had back in the day, to be able to, you know, heal ourselves. And
you got to talk about what you do too, though. You got to talk about the meditation, the yoga. You got to talk about the oneness with self, the being able to understand being able to reflect and be comfortable in your own mind, that as a release and an escape from the social media, from the social interactions, and from the social oppression. You can view it like in those 3 levels. And
the pressure socially too.
You have to have meditation and reflection to be able to free yourself.
I mean, and all that really is quiet time away from all of that.
Yeah, away from the noise. Yeah.
Away from the noise.
Turn you will the phone find off.
That your inner self already knows the answers to all the questions you've been asking. And you just have to have enough time alone to
tell the truth to yourself.
Right, to tap into that, right? And so like the mindfulness is really just non-judgmental self-awareness, and we're all kind of on that pathway to self-mastery. You know, that's the pain and all that kind of stuff does nothing but grow us, you know, into the direction that we want to go. And so, I mean, we have so much potential within our community, but we not, like us leaving out that mental health part and not paying attention to what's going on. Right, this money thing, like, okay, how many people you know got the money and then was good? You got people at the peak of their career still depressed, you know. And that's why I respect J. Cole so much, because J. Cole was like, you're not going to feel no different when you get there than how you feel right now. That money is going to change situations. It's going to make some stuff easier and some stuff harder. And so it's like, until you are okay and happy and comfortable with this present moment right now, and like can find a way to like be content and love yourself and all that kind of good stuff. You know what I mean? It's like you're not, when you get there, none of that stuff is going to mean nothing anyway. And you losing behind, you know, so many people sacrifice family and whatever else on the pursuit, like FBs on get money and this whole thing that's in our culture. Like, is that gonna make you happy?
Hey,
how many people you know got there and was happy? You know,
some people. It's not a lot. I mean, I feel what you're saying.
All the people you talking about, all Lil Wayne, the people that we whatever, not Lil Wayne, but like that got all the money and the power and the fame and the girls and his booty coming in and out the house every day, and they still miserable.
And look,
you know what I mean?
That's success. You know?
But that ties into.
But that's what our younger generation and our culture thinks, though.
Yeah,
like it's a lot of us out here that really do aspire to that kind of stuff.
That's true.
That ties back into legacy, though, and then like what you're doing, the results of what you're doing and producing, what is that leaving behind, right?
Right.
And you mentioned Aretha before, so I forgot to mention this before. Like, how do the current queens of R&B, the Beyoncés, the Rihannas, how are their legacies stacking up to someone like Aretha's? Even though that's a big gap. I ain't trying to say they gotta be Aretha or nothing like that, but how are they stacking up? I mean, they're big in the terms of the world, to girls, to Black people, everybody. So how are they stacking up right now? I
mean, I think comparison is the thief of joy. I feel like that's where we mess up all the time, comparing ourselves to different so people. You got your own legacy. Like, you are here and I read in Aretha's thing that she was fearful of being forgotten. Like, that is what motivated her, and she was so like, she said she was like like fervently going after her dreams and like had this control thing or whatever because she was so afraid of being forgotten. I thought that was deep. Like, it's so many of us that just want to be enough and want to be like relevant and like do something that, like you said, leaves a legacy, something for somebody to live on longer than our bodies, right? To say we made an impact, right? And so like, you know, I feel like as long as you're tapping into your purpose and you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're doing exactly that. Like Beyonce, people got complaints and gonna say whatever. I'm not necessarily a part of the Beehive. I respect her. I think she was like masterful in how she's been able to keep her personal life separate, and when she does air it, she getting coin off of it. You know what I mean? I think it's dope, but I don't think anybody needs to be like necessarily compared. Like, she is what you call her, our
she's Black Jesus to black women.
Black Jesus.
Yeah, to black women. That's Jesus.
Yeah.
But Beyonce been doing her thing lately. It's like, especially the political relevance of the stuff that she's been talking about, her and JC. I respect that improvement. Like, that's some maturity from where they came from.
I respect it.
What's crazy about them is that, like,
there, but I respect it.
They're old school.
Was
too,
you
though.
always great? You know what I mean? We ain't all, you know. It's
you gotta
like,
grow, Kofo.
No, not even. Not even.
They grew.
Not
That's
even.
What I'm saying.
Respect I just respect the progress. You know.
I mean, they're more old school too, because like Jay-Z and Beyonce are responsible for bailing out dozens of Black Lives Matter protesters across the country without accepting credit. And then I kept looking because I was just like, well, what else are y'all doing? And then like Beyonce has a housing complex in Houston that houses people that have been affected by natural disasters. It holds up to 43 families.
Slim Thug does that too.
You said 43 families. Wow.
She gave $7 million to institute that joint, bro.
Slim Thug is building neighborhoods in Houston as well.
That's respect. I mean, like, straight up. I mean, like, that's incredible. And then my man's from The Wire, from New Orleans, and from Treem. Big black fellow.
Who?
I don't know.
Interesting character.
Who from The Wire?
Big black guy. Oh, man. Bunk. That's his name. Bunk Moreland on the TV show. Don't know his name in real life.
Nope.
I was staying in Baltimore when The Wire was like real popping, and the rule was like, if you from here, you don't watch it.
Yeah, it's not real.
It was like, one of those things like you wasn't allowed to.
It's realist.
No, but it was like too real. Like, we don't need to know what's going on next door, kind of thing.
We lived
5
in
years out there. Yeah, we was deep in that jump. Yeah. And then also
look at this Morgan State
the connection. Alumni. Burrs.
But y'all in Howard territory right now, so recognize right across from the Howard University Theater.
So what
Bison are extinct. Bison are extinct.
Don't talk crazy now. You're just losing your credibility.
And then also Beyonce has Phoenix House. Y'all ever heard about Phoenix House?
No.
It's like so she was filming Cadillac Records as the Eddie James character or whatever. And she saw a rehab center called Phoenix House. She went and checked it out, I suppose, blah, blah, blah. She donated her whole $4 million check from that movie to Phoenix House for, you know, whatever they needed it for, and also helped open up a cosmetic center. So it's a rehab center. So once they finish rehab, now they can go to a cosmetology school as well.
Oh, that's dope.
So I mean, like, I was going to try and hate, because I mean, that's people, dope.
That's what matters for real.
Like, unrequited love and like in mass is kind of creepy to me, when it's like everybody just loves this one figure and they can't really justify why.
Well, that's because she's kept the mystery alive. Like, the way
that's
all these
old
other
school
people
about her, because that's what the celebrities used to do.
I kid you not, she would not be. I don't believe, this is my just personal theory, I don't believe she would have been at the status that she's in if we knew all these details about her life. It's the mystery, honestly. Like,
so how you explain Rihanna?
Like, we didn't say.
Because Rihanna is like right there.
Humanitarian of the year at Harvard. Which is crazy. I was like, what?
I mean, Rihanna, honestly, she has this wild
we
sex
know about
appeal.
All of her lumps.
I'm sorry.
But it's that.
Excuse me.
It's the wild Caribbean sex appeal thing that she got going on. I think.
You think so?
Yeah, it's something like.
Are you sure you're not fetishizing her?
First of all.
We had this discussion yesterday.
No, the discussion for your viewers that were not there. Let me give a little context to this foolishness.
Go ahead.
So there was a conversation about like, it was a black man basically saying, well, it was a black woman, and I don't support or agree with none of these views. I'm just delivering the message. It was a black woman that was saying she was like gonna stop dating black men and start dating white men because of X, Y, and Z and all these other reasons. And the black man spoke up and was like, well, that's a fetish. Like, white men that like y'all is for this, that, and the third, and there's always, you know, ulterior motives to that. They never had a black booty. They want to know what it's like, you know, kind of thing. And then the other black woman spoke up, and she was like, y'all fetishize after us too, if that's the case. Like, y'all are capable as a black man of fetishizing about us, because so many men Don't give a crap what's in your head, what's in your heart.
I'm looking directly.
It's what that body do, what that what that mouth do.
The body. That's
what,
I don't know
what that mouth do, or what that her butt or whatever. So it's like that's a fetish.
Hey,
that's some straight Venus hot
type
stuff.
And on your heart and all of that too.
Get out of here. The lies.
The attraction comes first. That's all.
I'm most definitely fetishized. I just want to make sure you ain't fetishize Rihanna in return.
Am I fetishizing Rihanna? No,
you're saying respect. Her crazy sex appeal.
No, I'm literally speaking on behalf of I got like 99.9% of my friends is men, so I hear this all the time. It's like her sex appeal is like has surpassed like that of Beyonce for whatever reason. People, men Beyonce's are not like on Beyonce as much. Is it because she's a mom that she's less attractive?
Than someone who's not a mom?
Because when she was rolling around in them booty shorts and them red pumps, wasn't nobody saying nothing bad then.
I'm just saying, that's what you're talking about. Yeah, I remember that. Almost definitely with some crank sessions to that jump. Keeping it real. Right. I don't mean dancing. You know what I mean?
Oh, God.
And then also, Kofi likes the MILFs, if we keeping it.
I mean, I don't discriminate.
Kofo don't discriminate, period.
I don't discriminate, that's all.
Tall, short, fast, skinny, disabled.
I don't discriminate. That's all that
he is an equal opportunity employer.
That's a fact. So you can't say I have any preference for light skin, dark skin.
That's where I object.
Hey, boobs.
Kofo definitely got a light skin preference.
That's not true.
Kofo.
That's totally untrue. But all right.
Kofo will be like, I'm disjointed. And she light skin?
I don't say that. I do not say that.
It's like the icing on the cake, like,
nah.
Damn, she light skinned?
I definitely don't say that. This is hype session 101 right now.
But he won't admit it. I love how Chocolate Brothers will not admit it because they like down with This Is Too on some Wale stuff. Like, but I'll put, but you can still have a preference or still like,
I like all women.
Okay. We'll leave it there.
Except for colonizers.
I was waiting. I was like, looking at him like, I don't know, man.
Except for
I think it's a certain type of demographic you do not like, but hey, to each his own.
Kofo, don't make me air. Listen,
I'm just keeping it 100.
Hey, look, let's get back on task.
That's the problem with knowing people.
So we noticed the changing of the guard in regards. We noticed the changing of the guard in regards to drugs. Mm-hmm. No longer criminal, humanitarian. Notice the changing of the guard in regards to queens. We got the Queen of Soul passing on, R.I.P. Now we got the queens of R&B. They got to take over. I'm about to drop some facts on y'all. Nah, we transitioned into a whole nother section with the politics. We got a changing of the guard in politics.
Okay.
And then so you guys weren't so familiar. I mean, everybody might not be so familiar. So I'll throw some names out there. We have Johanna Hayes, who was the 2016 Teacher of the Year winner, and she got that under Obama. Yes. And she has
good point.
The Obama
administration, but she has the chance to be the first Black Congresswoman in Connecticut's history. Mm-hmm. She's already the first Black Democratic nominee for Congress as a woman in Connecticut's history. She has the chance to be the first Black Congresswoman in Connecticut's history, which is that's semi-crazy.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
And then in Minnesota, we have Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, who are both up for congressional seats as well. And Ilhan Omar is actually an immigrant from Somalia.
Dope.
Like not even just like both of these women are Muslim, of the Islam faith, but Ilhan is actually an immigrant from Somalia, like for her generation from Somalia, and she came here, established herself, obviously, established some type of political voice, and then ran for office and has won the Democratic nomination in a district that has been Democratic for like the last 14 years.
Dope.
So she's going to do that. And then we also have Stacey Abrams, who, of course, and I believe is like one of the first Black women nominated for governor. But not only the first Black woman, if she wins, she will be guaranteed the first Black woman ever as a governor in America. And she's running in a gubernatorial race in Georgia. So it's crazy that we still have these types of firsts. But is it important?
A lot of it with women too.
That is correct, sir.
Yeah.
And is this important for the cause? Yeah. Will this cause change? And what do y'all think will come from these new Black women within the political spectrum?
I mean, it's all representation. That's all what this stuff is. Like having a movie come out like Hidden Figures, representation. Now, I used to teach, and I used to hear kids say oh, I'm not good at math. And I'm just like, how do you know you're not good at math? Oh, my mom told me, or oh, such and such. You get what I'm saying? Now you see these people who were successful in math, and did what they did. You see these people now who are successful in politics, and they're a figure there. Regardless of what their politics are, they're there. So now these kids look at them and go, okay, I can do that too. You get what I'm saying? So, like, representation and inspiration to me is, like, extremely important in this country for the black community because you just don't have it like that. You get what I'm saying? So, like, when you do get it, that opens up the minds of all these kids to a whole new realm as opposed to, like, wanting to be a sports player or an entertainer in general. Like, now you can actually have positions of influence where you can, like, get shit done as opposed to just, you know, talking. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, it sets a precedence. I mean, and that's the very reason why, even though people say Obama isn't their brand of hope or whatever, it's incredibly important for people to have someone to open the doorway for them. So even if he didn't do everything that you thought he was supposed to do, or this black woman isn't able to change the world for black people, you set a precedent. There's a foot in the door. There's a footprint that says you can come behind her and improve upon a base that was established. I mean, look at, for example, and this might seem like a weird transition, but look like for example, Nigerians. Like, a lot of the struggle that African Americans have, like, endured in this country paved a way for Nigerians to be able to walk in and become the most educated, the most educated immigrant group. You know what I mean? It is that struggle or whatever, like all of the stuff.
Well, that and our culture too.
I mean, but it's a combination. It's a combination of
you
factors.
Had help.
Because a lot is expected of you.
You didn't build things.
Yeah.
I say I built it. I'm just saying.
But you wouldn't even be.
There are those that aren't taking advantage too, and that to me is because of culture. They don't have nobody behind them up under their ass telling them that you need to get this, you need to do that.
You can see. But you can see, like you said, you can see what an immigrant can accomplish.
Yeah,
as in the case of Illinois.
And in some cases, the experience is easier when you're coming from the outside. The same way I, as an American, treated better than a Nigerian in Nigeria. Immigrants are treated better than the black people here. Black people, wherever their home country is, are always treated worse than the immigrant that comes in, or the black person of of their same skin color, like all around the world. It's interesting. Like, so.
I mean, there's reasoning for that too.
Absolutely, the native is always the abused. So
especially in this country, but I mean, either way, like here in this country, we're all black.
But yeah,
it's just that simple.
I mean,
when the police pull us over, they don't go, "Oh, you're Nigerian." Okay, wait. Now you.
Yeah, but when you go to the bank,
but when you open your mouth,
your credit's better than an African American's credit.
Probably, I mean, by a little bit.
There are things. It's just it's
a
different
only one
experience.
group of people who got the top credit when they go to the bank.
Excuse you, sir.
Exactly.
It's the truth.
It's a different experience. Okay. We can unpack that, but. To your point about whether or not it's important, I think it's incredibly important, and it also gives a voice to issues that only I think sometimes black women or people from the black community can really speak to. Sometimes people have this like attitude that kind of bothers me though, like, oh, she was the first black person to do this. Like, I hate the idea of like being the first black person to do something white or something that be understood as white. Like, if that's kind of the framework that people are coming from, I don't agree with that necessarily, but I do think it's always important to have a seat at the table because you add a very unique perspective that is charged with all of the lived experience of being of this community and a part of this community, and that's necessary, especially in the political realm, for someone who has that lived experience to be a part of that policy making, because essentially that's what controls the temperature of the
laws.
Exactly.
And then you could be the one to go back to your community and be like, look, this is what they plan.
And a lot of that stuff going to get blocked. Let's be real. Let's be real. A lot of that stuff gets blocked. But I think it's important to always be resisting in that space.
Yeah.
Too.
I mean, like, to me, because I most definitely last episode taught it on how, like, you shouldn't have to listen to others. You shouldn't care about what others are saying or doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the fact that there's never been a black female governor, African-American governor in the history of the country is like, that has to be some type of impediment. Like, that's ridiculous. Yeah. Like, come on now. Like, you shouldn't have to care about what others are doing, but the fact there's been still certain firsts that have not occurred is like, we need to get that shit over with.
Yeah.
Get these people into office, and then, like, then you can view it more so as a more even playing field, even though it's not even. And if you view it as a more even playing field, you might have more confidence within yourself
to go for it. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like,
that's the whole point of representation.
I mean, yeah.
That's the whole point of representation.
You perceive your reality.
Yeah, see yourself in these positions.
So if you feel as though it's possible for you, it motivates one more to go after those things. I agree with that.
I couldn't believe, when I read that, I couldn't believe it, that there's never been like a black, black woman nominee.
It's not that hard to believe because there are places where intentionally
kept out of.
I mean, but in my upbringing,
and the higher up you go in these political positions, the more of these firsts is what you're gonna encounter.
That's correct.
All the way up to president.
Like, and I think most of us would agree. But then our upbringings, who was a better leader than the black woman?
You said in your upbringing.
In my household, in my households, I never had
in my household.
Well, because it's a culture difference too. Like African Americans, we do have the matriarch. You know, like the mother, because of a lot of very intentional attacks on the black man.
In antiquity, there's certain cultures within the African culture that have the matriarch as well.
Yeah, but speaking specifically about African Americans, that is the case, so that's normal. But then if you have, there are definitely other cultures.
Nigerian Yoruba.
That's not the case.
Very specific.
The man is the man. Okay.
Hey, but the woman is the integral part. It ain't like
I didn't say she wasn't.
Both.
I didn't say she wasn't.
Both.
I just said
you need that balanced energy.
It ain't one is more important than the other. You need both.
I ain't saying nobody's more important than anybody.
So we need male leaders. Most definitely need women leaders, man. And I don't know many that are stronger, more eloquent, or put together and know how to make something out of nothing.
Keep you in check.
Right.
Take a goddamn entrails of a pig and make a meal, baby.
Chitlins.
Keeping it real.
Gross.
Fuck no. Excuse my French. No. Oh my God. Since I was 6, I used to smell that ungodful thing and be like, Mom, what are you doing? Making some chitlins.
Close the bathroom door. Oh.
No.
Coming from the kitchen.
Kitchen. Yeah. Right. With the hot sauce and the vinegar and the onions. Yes. I know what's up. I ain't even trying to hate.
I loved it until I found out what it was. Then I was like, oh, y'all trying to kill me now.
Hey, so we're seeing a changing of the guard, like I said, an evolution. So with these types of evolutions, black renaissances within politics, whatever may have you, do you still think, and I believe, so you went to Howard, right?
I did. The illustrious Howard University. We also had another one come in from Howard in the back there. Hello, sis.
Boo-boo. But, I say like woo-woo, boo-boo. But,
and what school we go to? We went to Morgan State University.
I wish we were some type of dog.
Closed down yet?
Home of the Bears.
You got to do like some type of big
a national treasure.
It was kind of deserted when I was there last time.
That's because it was the summertime. That's why it was deserted.
Started in the basement of a church.
We grind all year long. I'm sorry.
Sure, you have to because you're in D.C.
And I believe the IOTAs were started on that campus. The first IOTA.
The IOTAs were started on Morgan State's campus.
Respect. And if you first off to go to Morgan, you got to be gangster anyway. You're getting close to that point. So I mean, do y'all think HBCUs are still needed?
Absolutely.
1000%. Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Expound. Elaborate, my friends, my peoples.
Because it's like a you know how the caterpillar got to be a cocoon for. It's like an incubator for like black excellence.
Sorry. Also, HBCUs are historically black colleges and universities.
Yeah, but it's like an incubator for like black excellence. Like, sure, you can go to other schools and stuff, but like nothing incubates you better than HBCUs, in my opinion. And they give chances to people who otherwise would not get a chance at any of these other schools, which was the whole original point of HBCUs in the first place. So, and I've seen people's lives, literally, like the curse or whatever, literally being broken, or they're the first person to go and graduate college because they went to, you know what I'm saying, like a Morgan or Howard, wherever else they go to. Because, some people say the standards are lowered or whatever, but hey, this is changing lives.
Of some schools.
This is changing lives. It doesn't matter. It's changing lives. And these people are getting educated and they're changing the narrative of their family. You get what I'm saying? And I've seen that. So for me, when I first got to Morgan and all of that, I had a very poor disposition of HBCUs in general. But like seeing everything that I saw, it is absolutely needed. And to me, like, it's crazy for anybody, especially if you're black and you think that that HBCUs are not needed. Like, especially seeing everything you're seeing now. Like, like if you're black and saying something like that, you're a fucking Tom, you're a fucking Uncle Tom and fucking Coon, all of that shit. So that's how I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's that age-old argument, right? Like, oh, we're a diverse community now. We don't need these things. The original purpose that it was founded for is not still the case, and that's nonsense. It's a part of that covert brainwashing and stuff about this whole...
You don't need this anymore. What do you need a whole black school for?
Ridiculous.
What do you need Black History Month for?
Right, and it's like, oh, I've heard this thing about it being racist. I'm like, first of all.
No, they have a lot of scholarships
what's racist
for other races.
Right.
HBCUs.
It's hard to even entertain those conversations.
Shout out Rachel Dolezal.
Right, who infiltrated my school. But nah, I mean, like,
y'all let that happen. That would have never happened at Morgan.
She also, Rachel is a whole
being a Brazilian and coming from Brazil on the scholarship.
Another conversation, but HBCUs are definitely needed. I think the problem right now is around financing. You have a lot of HBCUs who are, because of the financing issue, there's like so many of them that are closing down or like opening up their registrar to white kids to bring in more revenue, and it's problematic. Quite honestly, there's a couple of them that are HBCUs that have like majority white populations now. There's a few of them that have literally closed the doors, and then there are others that have majority white populations.
Howard's one of them, right?
Howard is definitely not one of them. I mean, but honestly, we got issues. I mean, a lot of it is around like the finances, and that's the political space that we're in.
I'm glad you brought up finances, though.
Yeah.
Because so after I introduce this point, do you still think HBCUs are needed? Because a lot of HBCUs,
definitely.
No, but a lot of HBCUs and their lobbyists met with Trump, worked with Trump, and sung his praises once they got a few different things that they needed.
The coin to secure the bag.
But this guy said you shouldn't even. How you gonna secure a bag if you don't even meet?
I said I wouldn't meet.
Oh, but it's all right for your alma mater too?
Yeah, get the money. The hell, we need it. Get the money.
30 billion for the account.
Yeah, exactly. Take the money. Get the money. Shit. I don't care.
As long as we keeping it real. I mean, because
I said for me, I have no reason to go up there.
They have profited from working with the Trump administration.
And I mean, and that's what it is. It's always this balance. Like you have to, you got to give a little to get a little sometimes. And it's unfortunate that we just don't have the space to be able to create wealth for we need to do better by creating wealth for our own communities. But I mean, that happened a lot at Howard, like certain things that they had to do.
Your man Tyrone created wealth for himself.
Oh my God.
But ain't nothing like federal money, bro. That federal money it's like a water faucet that don't stop because they print it.
Yeah.
Right.
So when you go into the source where they print it, I mean, that's like, even HBCUs would be like, yeah, I mean, I got these black constituents, these black students, I'm going to educate them and all that good stuff. But you said you would give me a contract for how much money, please?
Right.
I mean, so I just wanted to bring it up because my man Kofi he said he wouldn't meet, and I respect that because he was like, but HBCUs, get your coin.
I mean, the leadership, that's what you're supposed to do as the leadership. You got to do the stuff, the dirty work that don't nobody else want to do and risk the reputation for it.
Because for me, I'll blame like these guys who call themselves like black celebrities who are balling and all that. They shouldn't have to meet with Trump. Floyd Mayweathers, these other guys like who just throw money around recklessly for no reason at nothing. These guys are the ones who are supposed to be doing these things.
I mean, there are a lot of them that are, like Diddy. Shout out to Diddy, gave like, what was it, $1 million or something like that to Howard.
What's crazy is like if they did unite,
exactly,
it would have a bigger, but it's like somewhat united, somewhat not. It's just I don't know how to describe it honestly.
Right. I mean, because honestly, the ones who support HBCUs are usually the one that went to HBCUs. There are a lot of these people who did not. They played basketball or whatever, and they went through whatever the basketball institution was. Yeah. We are not sports entities as HBCU, so we're not tapping into the athletic space unless they have they grew up here or whatever else. They usually you support whatever school you went to. So we need to do a better job around fundraising because HBCUs are critical. It saved my life, quite honestly, coming from where
saved a lot of people's
I
lives,
came from with the racial tensions of the community. It was literally an escape. And then there's this misconception that HBCUs are not diverse, and that couldn't be more inaccurate.
I mean,
and so
as an African American, if you've never been someplace where it was all black people around you, HBCUs are a great asset.
But even that, all black people, like it's a culture shock in so many ways because you have people. We had, I think, how many? It was over 100 countries represented at Howard when I was there. Like literally meeting people from every respective African country, from Brazil, Afro Latinas. There's Cubans and people from you don't realize how much difference there is from even just the regional thing, like somebody from down south mixing with the New Yorkers,
Cali girls,
you know what I mean, the Cali girls,
people.
Exactly. Right, it was just interesting. It was like
it's culture shock, to say the least. Yeah. It's a good
and it's
type
diverse,
of culture shock.
And it's incredibly diverse. You got Republicans and Democrats
compare notes and stuff with
rapping about it on the yard, right?
Yeah.
Like when I realized
companies, government groups,
right,
organizations,
right.
You networking,
and it's groups for everything. You got like the theater geeks and the Pokemon heads,
anime heads,
right, and like whatever you call it.
She said Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm saying you got the
whole thing.
They do the whole shit. That wasn't me.
They were everything. Naruto.
All of that.
Everything.
Yeah, and then you got your Supreme Hotep group.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Bath
I should
salts,
call it
oils.
Notep. I should call it Notep.
You need some soap, my brother.
You need some soap, my brother.
Don't come
the
for
black
us.
soap.
Don't come for us.
The black man soap. I got stuff keep you fresh 2 weeks, my brother. Oils and incense. But hey, do y'all have any last thoughts? I mean, we gonna have to wrap the episode up.
Go ahead, Jay. Tell them what you do with the dance studio and all of that.
Yeah, share some knowledge.
Share some knowledge to the people.
In case you never come back. You're welcome.
Dang, I just got the get the boot. I mean, you want to learn about the dance studio? I mean, honestly, what I do?
Yeah. It's good stuff.
I dance because I enjoy it. I mean, it is what it is.
You help people get in shape. You're a trainer and all that.
Yeah. I'm a budding personal trainer, So if it's any of your people out there that's particularly women, I don't like training men.
Instagram, Twitter, email.
And I don't have Instagram. I'm actually not on social media. So it's awkward. How do people contact you? It's awkward.
Just say your number on air. 202-895.
It's not even 202. But yeah, no, I gotta, launching some stuff coming up soon. So I'll come back and just drop y'all with a website in a little bit. So yeah, but thank y'all for having me on the show. It was fun.
Of course.
Yes.
Hey, and check out
to have you.
My Twitter and Instagram at RIC09 on Twitter, and then at Rico_L_J_E on Instagram for all the stuff that we talked about. I take pictures, I go to events and take videos of functions for the Living Just Enough crew.
And we're on Facebook, Living Just Enough. Instagram coming soon.
For Kofo.
You gonna have an Instagram?
Nah,
I'll check you out. Welcome to the age.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
And until then, we have nothing left to say.
All right. Good night.
Straight, Mikey.